Helga Martin. Regarding the marketplace, please provide Parliament with a copy of the commitment letter. This can be found in Budget Presentation 2023 as it was done. The tour went out. When did it go out? What is the exact date it went out? The tour for the marketplace was placed on bid initially on October 6th until November 9th, 2023. The selection committee evaluated the bid and made their selections, and the advice was sent to COM December 5th, 2023 for approval. There were some needed adjustments in which that has been addressed now and scheduled to be handled in COM, hopefully tomorrow, December 14th. Once approved, the work will immediately start, and the aim is to complete at the end of the first quarter 2024. Marketplace has not started. It was stated by an MP that it would start December 1st. As stated above, there was some needed adjustment. The timeline was broken down for the MP as to why it has not started as yet, MP. Through you, Mr. Chair. Regarding the tourist office, when was the contract signed and by which Minister of TIAT? Is the term in this term was it signed? The contract was signed May 18th, 2023 by Minister Lambrix. The advice was signed by my person. Questions regarding the Royal Caribbean cruise. Minister to provide an outline of the last couple of years. Cruise ship calls 2021, 168, 2022, 145, 2023, 96 thus far. Passengers, 2021, 113,230. You're writing, sorry. So passengers, 113,230 passengers. 2022, 461,450 passengers. You want the cruise ship calls again? Okay. In 2000, just give me added information. In 2021, cruise calls was 168. In 2022, 145. In 2023, 96 thus far. Is there anything on the list for the upcoming season for Disney calls? How many times a week? Disney call, 2021, 0, 2022, 6, 2023, 3, 2024, 1. With regards to the water parks, what are the details with the new facility? Does it include a hotel? Who's funding it? Is it government? Is it harbor? Is it third party? The port responded, these areas is concession to Royal Caribbean Group. They are responsible for the financing and development and building of that area. The current plans of the water park does include a hotel. I missed something, MP? The new water park and hotel project that is in the area adjacent to the Chesterfield and the harbor is a project that has been discussed for many years. The investment group of local investors has been seeking the opportunity to develop these properties since early 2009. At one point, the group had secured some form of agreement with APS for investment, but with a sudden was suddenly derailed shortly after the fall of government. It is our understanding that since then, private investors has been made to secure accordance with the development agreement for the land. The Council of Ministers of St. Martin approved the vision plan known as the Quarter Development, which would entail the construction of the largest water park in the northern eastern Caribbean and a boutique hotel adjacent to the property of Dr. A.C. Watty Cruz cargo facility. Taxis, bus license, coincidentally at 12:16 p.m., the minister posted on the government page that there was now a cap. The moratorium on public transportation licenses was updated and published on September 27, 2023. The adjustment included the change from an outright halt on licenses of bus, taxi, T, and G license, and instead allow for a cap per license type, based on the number of licenses that have been issued up to that point. Once the cap had not been reached, the license can be issued. The benefit of changing the moratorium to a cap is allows implementation of a waiting system for licenses once there's availability. Although published September 27, 2013, Ministry is still receiving a high influx of requests. On December 8, 2023, the Ministry sent out an instruction for a follow-up publication, which was published on December 12, 2023, 12:16 p.m., as mentioned by MP. A previous press release by the minister was also published explaining the cap and reserves of future growth. I move to the question of MP Sarah Westcott Williams for the Minister of TIAT. The Minister of TIAT, through the Minister of Finance, has indicated that the advice for the bid of the marketplace was in circulation and could not be shared yet. Can it now be shared? Not at this moment, as stated. It is scheduled to be on COM tomorrow. Once the decision is taken, the information can and will be shared to the members of Parliament.
The Parliament of St. Martin, in its meeting of December 13, 2023, considering that the market for taxis in St. Martin is currently heavily reliant on tourism, that St. Martin has a resident population exceeding 60,000, including a significant number on the French side, representing a substantial local potential user base for taxi services, that if 10% of the population were to utilize taxis at a rate of just $300 per month, this would, at a total of $300 per month, this would generate over $1.8 million monthly for taxi drivers and thousands of dollars a month for the individual operators. That increased use of taxis by locals has the potential to also alleviate traffic congestion. Resolves, for the Ministry of TIAT to formulate and present a comprehensive plan, including draft budgets and policy proposals aimed at encouraging the use of taxis by local residents. This plan should encompass, 1, a feasibility study. Sorry. I did one little edit here, so I need to read from. And if the members of Parliament who have been reviewing the original copy, if they can pass it to me, please. Thank you very much. Yes. This study should explore, first, a feasibility study, conduct a thorough feasibility study with the objective of achieving a target of up to 10% of the population using taxis regularly. The study should explore factors influencing local taxi usage and propose strategies to achieve the desired increase. This should be completed by March 2024. Based on the positive result of the feasibility study, the next step should include a marketing program, develop a marketing program for taxi operators to incentivize local usage at a special rate. This program should aim to make taxi services more available and affordable for residents, thereby promoting regular use. An improved taxi dispatching system, establish a policy for an enhanced local dispatching system that streamlines taxi services, making them more efficient and responsive to local needs. The system should prioritize user-friendly technology to facilitate easy access to taxi services. And an inclusive approach. Implement an inclusive approach that does not discriminate between associated and non-associated taxi members. All qualified taxi license holders should have equal opportunities to participate in and benefit from all of the initiatives proposed in this plan, and goes over to the order of the day. This motion is supported by the members Marlin, myself, and Gums. Thank you for your support, MPs. The next motion I would like to table, Mr. Chairman, is on a question that I had posed since in the Central Committee meeting, and I would like to thank the Minister of Finance for his effort in trying to get the information as to what the status is and what the rights and responsibilities are when it comes to locals making use of e-commerce and online banking websites such as Venmo, Cash App, and in particular, because this became a more recent issue, Revolut. As some people may know, Revolut is an online service that many locals have been using to be able to trade online, to be able to receive payments for services such as music, arts, for goods that they produce locally, for even some local accountants make use of Revolut in order to give their accounting services internationally. I believe this has potential to bring in additional new income into the country that would otherwise not be coming in, and it is something that is this e-commerce sector is completely non-reliant really on tourism. So I believe it's important for us to try to stimulate wherever possible e-commerce, and the key part of that is the transaction. Because if our people can't be paid for the services that they do in an easy manner, no one is going to go through the trouble of going to a bank, sending a wire transfer, paying the extra fees and so on to be able to pay for a service of a local. And I believe Revolut and these other services have played an important part in that. In order to create clarity for both citizens, the Parliament, the government, as well as these international services, I want to present a motion to ask the central bank to come up with clear guidelines to promote in accordance with what the law does and does not allow, and which should hopefully allow platforms like Revolut to be able to continue their service in St. Martin. The motion reads, draft motion of Parliament. The Parliament of St. Martin in its meeting of December 13, 2023, considering Article 2 of the National Ordinance on the Supervision of Banking, which states, it is prohibited for anyone to conduct the business of a credit institution in St. Martin without prior authorization of the bank. However, online banking services such as Revolut are not currently established in St. Martin within the context of the aforementioned ordinance. Residents of St. Martin utilize online banking services like Revolut for engaging in e-commerce activities. Resolves, for the Minister of Finance to request for the Central Bank to publish clarification and/or guidelines on the rights and the responsibilities of residents of St. Martin utilizing e-commerce services, particularly focusing on platforms like Revolut, and goes over to the order of the day. A copy of this motion will be sent to the government of St. Martin and His Excellency the Governor, and it is supported by the MPs Bryson, Marlin, and Pantaflet. Thank you for the support. Mr. Chairman, I would just like to close by Mr. Chairman, I would like to close by thanking, we've had various ministers here, but in particular the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Justice, who have had to give extensive explanations as to this budgetary process. The way it is, I would summarize it, is that it's been a long road to get to this point. We have had since 2010, many efforts to be able to try to, let's say, resolve the function book issue, to ensure that we have proper budgeting and so on. I think we have done quite a good job in being able, as Parliament, to pose the necessary questions that hopefully give clarity to our justice workers, but also to the ministers who have provided the information. I think some of the questions that have just been posed in the second round are, however, very salient. And it really comes down to a clear understanding of what expectations are. I know I've repeated that multiple times, and I hope that with the information that is provided, that this is not just provided to the Parliament of St. Martin, but that the Ministry of Justice is also in constant communication with the justice officers who may not be able to follow this meeting, but maybe be able to get a summary of what was discussed in Parliament and what the implications of this budget are. I think it's also interesting to note the multi-year approach of this budget, and I don't think enough has been said about that aspect. I believe that initially you would hear a lot of the attention being placed on the figure retroactive payment. But I think what actually makes it possible to be able to justify doing these function books and being able to put people within their correct functions is the fact that we also are looking at this from a multi-year perspective in the context of this national ordinance and the budget. A lot of that is explained within the elucidation. My only caution and what I will look forward to in future budget debates, if the people of St. Martin welcome me back to the Parliament again, the fact that in every budget we will have to remember this moment, that we have taken the decision to finally pay the justice workers what they deserve.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be. RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Advisory of the Supervisory Board at the St. Martin Medical Center, Jimmy Parliament. First of all, the CLAs has been signed here. What does that reflect for the medical center in collaboration with the Supervisory Board? Looking forward to working with the employees.
Well, basically, as you mentioned, it is a three-part negotiation. The board supporting the management and ensuring that the ask of the employees are met as much as possible within budget, within the planning, especially in the foresight going forward for the new medical center that is under construction. You want to make sure that that CLA reflects the new working conditions and agreements between employer and employee going forward in the interest of them that is going to provide the service and of course the general public of St. Martin.
Of course, this CLA signed for only 3 years. The possibility of this being upgraded as time goes by, how likely is it?
Well, CLAs are always for a time period. Once that time period comes closer to an end, there's always a negotiation and changes. As you know, the labor market can have its changes in it. The ask of an employee, depending on how your building and your resources are at that point in time, and of course the demand of the country at any given point, would mean that automatically you do need to review contracts and CLAs as a result. I would like to take an opportunity, of course, to mention our chair lady of the Supervisory Council, which is Ms. Sandy Ofenja, along with our other colleagues in the Supervisory Council who have also been at every meeting supporting management and being kept abreast as to the developments of the signing of this CLA. And of course, congratulations to Dr. Holliday and his management team, and of course the union under Ms. Brunilda Illich, who have come this far moving forward, and it's just a pleasure to be part of that progress.
I'm sure your role as the Supervisory Board in the at least presenting and signing the CLA was significant in one way or the other. Can you articulate, if you may, as to some of the crucial points highlighted in the CLA?
Well, I don't want to overstep. The contract is there, and of course, management can always give a full detail. But in general, you look at things as where their wages is going to be in the next 3 years going forward, and in what manner would it increase over time. That's one major aspect. Of course, people work hard and they want to be compensated. You also look at things as your working conditions, but also what is expected of the employee in return for those benefits. I think, in essence, it is a document that would bring about the continued mutual respect between all parties, and it is our role as Supervisory Council to represent the general public, and particularly the government's ask of how the government would like to see their hospital being run, along with management, and that is what we are prepared to do, along with our fellow Supervisory Council members and Chair Lady Sandy Ofrenka.
SXM, your social and health insurance. SXM, your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social and health insurances.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be. RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
Getting ready for another busy day at the market in Guyana's capital, Georgetown. Chandrauti Alfred sells fruit from Essequibo, a resource-rich part of Guyana that Venezuela claimed ownership of earlier this month.
I'm scared because that is my living. Essequibo is we live in. Because without Essequibo we cannot make it.
It is a worry that many here share, and that some say is already impacting their business.
From the time I know myself, I know SXM belongs to us. We just hoping to this thing settle as fast as possible, because basically if you see the Christmas mood, it is very slow. This is not the mood we normally have in Guyana.
Venezuela has long laid claim to Essequibo, refusing to accept the border drawn by an international tribunal of arbitration in 1899. In 2015, the decades-old dispute flared up again after major oil deposits were discovered off the coast of Essequibo. Venezuela's most recent claims yet another provocation.
So Venezuela is claiming all of this.
Two-thirds of the country.
Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is not wasting any time. Last week, he ordered the state's oil companies to issue oil extraction licenses. An attempt to distract from Maduro's own troubles at home, says Guyana's foreign minister.
This is a low-hanging fruit for Venezuela. If you go back several decades, the entire Venezuelan nation, as a nation state, they support their request for the Essequibo. Whether it's the opposition parties, they teach this from cradle to grave. So it's something that they rally around. This is a rallying point for them. And it's really about bringing everyone closer to the flag. We want to continue with good neighborly relations. And instability between two countries can affect the stability of the entire region. So we're taking it very seriously.
The dispute is now before the International Court of Justice, which has ordered Venezuela to refrain from taking any action in the region.
I would expect, and of course the presidents themselves may have other goals, that they would try to do the people of the region a favor and ensure that violence and wars in excess of what we currently experience are spared.
Caught in the middle, the locals here in Guyana hope those calls for peace will be heard.
A report from DW's Latin America correspondent Nicole Rees, who joins us now from the capital of Guyana, Georgetown. Welcome, Nicole. Does anyone really expect an agreement to come out of these talks?
Well, expectations for an actual agreement are a bit low as both countries, both leaders maintain their position. I think today is rather about de-escalating the situation. After all, these talks are also happening after pressure from neighboring Brazil. President Lula is very worried about a huge conflict in the region. But the positions of both President Maduro and President Ali maintain themselves. President Ali, for example, has said time and again that Guyana is not going to discuss any border controversy today. The foreign minister, when I talked to him, though, said that there is room for other talks, for example, about security, cross-border crime, migration, also the environment. So they're open to that, but they're not going to touch on the other issue. And President Maduro, on his side, obviously he wants his part of the cake. He wants the Essequibo region. He's already claimed that it is now Venezuela after the referendum. And just yesterday, the country has also announced its budget for 2024. And this, for the first time, actually officially includes money to defend the Essequibo region. That's $20,500 million. So that's yet another provocation. We don't know what his goal is there exactly, but he's obviously whipping up votes back home because he's heading into elections next year. And he's also keeping a very keen eye on these crude oil resources that Guyana holds. He actually said it just 2 days ago. He's very interested in talks with the extracting companies on site here in Guyana. But whether this is going to happen is very doubtful at the moment. What we know so far from this meeting, though, is that both leaders are coming in a peaceful spirit. So they both mentioned that they want peace in the region and stability.